today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Kiss Dip Powder Kit. Now, when I first got into using dip powder, I actually used this kit. And then, of course, I switched over to Curious Sky, and I've been using Curious Sky ever since. But I wanted to go back to this kit and do like an official review on it. So then you guys can, see whether or not this is worth buying or not. Now, I have no idea if this is still in stores. I actually bought this off of Amazon because every time I've gone to a store to buy this kit, I have not been able to find it. So I have no idea if they still sell it in stores or not. But if you can find it in stores, you can get this at Target, Walgreens, CVS, Walmart, places like that. And if you can't find it in stores, you can buy this off of Amazon. This kit is $12.99, but if you are buying it off of Amazon, I ended up spending about $19 for it just because of shipping and tax. Of course, that's going to vary depending on where you live. But generally, this kit is $12. So this is relatively affordable for a dip powder kit, but that doesn't mean the quality of it is going to be great. I'm going to shut up now and let's open this up. So there is some tape here. I did just cut like the sides of it here just because when I was looking at the reviews, there were some people saying that the glue was dried up. So I wanted to check to make sure that it wasn't dried up. And if it was, then I would be able to have time to buy a new one. So let's open this up. This is a little bit difficult to open, and I cut my son this morning, so I have to be super careful. So this kit comes with the brush on gel, which is literally just a glue. It comes with the activator, a little sponge, which you are supposed to use to wipe the dust off. This is definitely not great for doing that, but again, I haven't used this in a couple of years, so we will see. It, of course, comes with the dip powder. It comes with this little tray that you are supposed to pour the dip powder into and then slide your finger into it. It comes with 2 extra brushes, as you can see here, just in case your brush is dried up, which I do have to switch the brush out of this because it is a little bit like crunchy looking. It, of course, comes with the nail tips, the French and the natural. I'm going to be using the natural today. It comes with this little file, which if anybody has ever used a Kiss dip powder or a Kiss like kit, you know that these files suck. But we're going to use it. We're going to follow the instructions. It also has this very teeny tiny little cuticle pusher. It's very, very itty bitty. And if you have very large nail beds, this is definitely not great for that. And of course, it then comes with the instructions. And before you start reading the instructions and following them, make sure you open everything up first. This has some tape on it. This has a seal on it, I believe, if I remember correctly. I can even just feel it from trying to open this. Yeah, this has a seal on it. So make sure that you do open everything up before you actually start reading the instructions. That way you're not reading the instructions and then you're like, I can't open this because I have these nail tips on. So just make sure you open everything first. And just a quick little FYI, I guess, there are probably going to be a couple of things that I'm going to be doing outside of the instructions. But I am going to try and just stick to the instructions. But there might be a couple of things that I do that aren't in the actual instructions. Okay, so I've gotten all of my little knickknacks and whatnot open over here, and I have the instructions. And the one thing I've always liked about the Kiss instructions is that it comes in several different languages on the front and the back, which is really nice because if you're someone, say, you speak French or like Italian or whatever, and you want to use this kit, but it only had it in English, you wouldn't be able to use it because you wouldn't be able to understand it because it's not in your language. So that's the one thing I've always liked about Kiss is that they do have it in several different languages, which I think is really cool. So let's read the instructions. Up here, they have a little preparation thing. It says, protect your work surface with paper towels. I have this absorbent towel here, which not everyone's going to have. So I would just suggest applying at least 2 layers of paper towel, just so then your surface is well protected. Protect your surface with paper towels. Clean nails of any polish using an acetone-based nail polish remover. Push back cuticles with manicure stick. Trim and file nails. Lightly buff nail surface to remove surface oil. Oh my god, there's a bubble in my throat. I apologize. To remove surface oil. Remove dust, wipe nails clean with acetone polish remover or alcohol. And then down here, it says you may also apply to natural nails without tips if you choose. After preparation, follow steps 4 through 13. So you can apply this on your natural nails. I am going to be using nail tips just because my nails naturally right now aren't as long as I want them to be. So I am going to be using nail tips. And generally, people are going to just want to use nail tips rather than, just putting it on their natural nails. But you do have the option of putting it on your natural nails. So we're going to follow these steps, preparation steps first. So the first little step is to take some acetone and just clean any nail polish off of your nails. I have some nail strengthener on my nails, so I do need to remove that. And the reason you want to do that is because, and the reason they specifically say acetone is because, one, if you have nail polish on your nails, the product is not going to stick and it's going to come off. 2, the reason you want to use acetone rather than like nail polish remover, like regular nail polish remover, is because regular nail polish remover sometimes has oils in it. And if you have any sort of oils on your nails, the product is not going to stick to your nails. So the acetone, as you can see, like my nail is kind of dried out. That's what the acetone does, is it dries out the nails and removes any oil from your nails. So that's just a little fun fact for you. So do make sure that you have acetone on you, because regular nail polish remover might have some oils in it that might transfer back onto your nails, and that's not what you want to do. You want to get rid of any oils or polish or anything like that off of your nails. So I also do have a little bit of leftover builder gel on my nails, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. So the nails are clean. The next step is to take the little cuticle pusher and push back your cuticles. I also apologize if my camera is like not focusing. I've been having issues with that lately where it just is not focusing like on my nails or anything like that. I have no idea why. Oh yeah, and if in the last clip you were like, your thumb is bleeding, I know that. It's not as bad as when I cut it this morning, but it's still bleeding a little bit, so I have a little tissue over there that I'm just putting my thumb on every once in a while if I see that it's bleeding. So thank you for telling me. I do know my thumb is bleeding. We're just going to gently push our cuticles back, and you want to use this little side. You don't want to use this toothpick side. Now, I don't have much cuticle, so it probably doesn't look like I'm pushing my cuticles back, but I am. I just don't have a lot of cuticle because I push my cuticles back so often. And there you go. The next step is complete. The next step, it says to trim and file nails and then to lightly buff the surface of the nails. So that is what I'm going to do. And just a quick tip, when buffing the nails, you don't want to use the grittier side. You want to use the smoother side. You can feel which side is smooth and which side is a little more gritty, and this side is smooth. So you want to use this side when buffing the surface of your nails. And I'm only mentioning that because they don't say in the instructions which side to use, and someone who hasn't done nails before isn't going to know which side to use on their nails. So that's why I'm bringing it up, because it doesn't say in the instructions which side to use. Now this is just a little pro tip. Wear a mask when you are filing your nails. You don't want to be inhaling like any of that dust whatsoever. And even though it doesn't say that in the instructions, definitely wear a mask when you're filing because you don't want to be inhaling that dust into your system. And for the people who are wondering what this is a dust collector. I bought a new nail table and it has a dust collector built into the table. So yeah, this is what this is. I also bought it off of Amazon, if you're wondering. I will leave a link to it down in the description box below if you want to buy it. Yeah. Now that my nails are prepped, I'm gonna go ahead and take my lint-free wipe and some rubbing alcohol. You can use acetone and like a paper towel to remove the dust, but I just like doing it this way. I just feel like it also kind of removes any possible bacteria that I might have on my nails. So even though there might not be any at all, I'm just paranoid, so. Okay, now that they're all clean, let's read the next part of the instructions. Before we read the next part, actually, I just wanted to show you guys what the brush looks like. So I don't know how well you can tell. Of course, it's not focusing either. I don't know if you can tell, but the brush is a little, you see how there's like parts of the brush that are like stuck together? That's not supposed to happen. So I am probably gonna just switch the brush out for one of these new ones and just hope that that doesn't happen to one of these as well. So the next part, it says to select the correct size tip for each finger, set aside in order before beginning, if needed, filed size to correct fit. Hint, it is helpful to begin with the dominant hand. If you're a right-handed, apply tips to right hand first. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing your dominant hand first, simply because if you don't know, if this is like your very first time using this kit, which a lot of the time that's going to be the case, any mistakes that you make are going to be on this hand. And this is, of course, your dominant hand, and you don't want to be, this is a hand that you use often that people are going to see more, and you don't want those mistakes to be seen on your dominant hand. So I would recommend doing your non-dominant hand first. That way, if there's any mistakes on there, you can learn from those mistakes. And then when you do your dominant hand, it should hopefully look a little bit better than your non-dominant hand. So that's the only thing that I would recommend that you don't do, is don't start with your dominant hand first. But let's go ahead and select the tips for our nails. So the nail tips I'm going to be using are the natural ones. And I just gotta try and open this. These are always so hard to open. Okay, let's just dump all these out. And we're just gonna sift through and look at the size. I already know that these giant ones are not going to fit my itty bitty little fingers. Now, just a little tip, these do have numbers. I don't know if you can see that. It's very faint, but you see how that's a 7? So these have numbers on them, and that's going to be helpful for when you are sizing your nail tips. That way you have the correct size on both hands. So when it comes to sizing your nails, you want to put the nail up against your nail and then look at the side walls. This nail's a little bit big, so let's see. We're gonna try a 4. That's a little bit better. So when it comes to sizing your nail tips, you don't want anything, you don't want like nail exposed on the sides or on the sides. Otherwise, the nail is going to want to pop off, and you don't want that to happen. So say I took one of these. This is a, nope, that's a 4 again. What is this? This is a 5. So say I were to take this 5, you can already tell right away that like it's small. And if I push down, it does fit a little bit, but you shouldn't have to push it down for it to fit. So when you're sizing your nail tips, just make sure it fits from sidewall to sidewall. So I have sized all of my nail tips. Now the one complaint that I do have is that these are very big and they don't really fit my fingers very well. This is supposed to be the smallest nail, and as you can see, it's huge on my finger. It's like, this is the smallest nail in there and it's still too big. I also had to use both of the 8s that are in here because those are the only 2 that fit on my pointer finger and my ring finger. And I also noticed that a lot of the times the ring finger and the pointer finger just happen to be the same size when it comes to nail tips. So if I wanted to use this on both of my hands, I would have to opt one of these numbers out for a nail that's bigger and do a lot of filing to it to get it to fit on my nail. So that's the only downside that there is to these. It's that if you have small nail beds, these aren't going to fit properly on your nails, and you might have to do a lot of filing in order to get it to fit to your nail. Speaking of filing, I do have to file some of these to get them to fit to the sides of my nails. So I'm going to do that off camera, and then I'll come back and we'll do the next step. So my tips are filed to fit my nails, so let's now read the next step. It says, apply brush-on gel to back of nail tips in well area, the part that adheres to natural nail. Slowly lower the tip onto natural nail, hold firmly until set. Repeat this for the rest of the nail/fingers. Okay, so what they want you to do is to take this and apply it to the well of the nail. Now, when I think when I first bought this kit, there were some reviews of people saying that their brush-on gel wasn't working to like adhere the tips on. So if that does happen to you, I would just recommend buying a little thing of nail glue, just in case this for some reason is not adhering the nail tip to your natural nail. Now, when adhering the nail tips, start with your pinky first and work down to your thumb. That way you always have your thumbs to work with. So I'm going to take this nail tip. There's a little bit of dust in here. And the well part that they're talking about is this hollow part in here. So we're going to take our brush-on gel. This is an actual gel. It's literally just nail glue. We're going to wipe off some of the excess. I'm going to just apply a little bit to this well area. And then I'm going to adhere this to my natural nail. And I just hold it there for a couple of seconds. And then you just move on to the next nail and let it set. Now, if for whatever reason it leaks on the bottom, I would just take the cuticle stick and just separate it from your skin. I do this anytime I apply nail tips just because sometimes the glue does seep onto the skin. So I would just recommend that you do that you just pull it away from the skin. Okay, so I'm going to do that to the rest of my nails. I just wanted to pop in here real quick. If you want a more detailed video on how to apply nail tips, I'll leave a link to my video down in the description box below. I have a video on how I apply and prep my nail tips. So I'll leave that linked down below so you guys can check it out. Okay, so I've gotten the nail tips on. Now, I will say this. I was having some trouble adhering the nail tips to my nails. And I just think it's because of this. So I definitely do recommend that you buy a little thing of nail glue. I luckily have some nail glue. Because if that happens to you as well, at least you'll have a backup to kind of help stick these. As you can see, I even applied some base or like some of this to the seam of this because I had some corners that just weren't sticking and I was having issues getting this to stick. So I definitely recommend that you buy some nail glue just in case that happens to you. So now that these are on, let's read the next part of the instructions. That's step 3. It says trim and file tips to desired length and shape, wipe off any dust. So we now can trim and file these to whatever length and shape that we want to do. And something that I'm going to do that's not part of the instructions is I'm going to blend the nail tip in with my natural nail. The reason I do that is just because sometimes you might end up with a slight dip in the nail because of the seam of this. And if you wanted your nails to look more natural, they're not going to look natural if you don't blend this in with your natural nail. So that is something I'm going to do that's not in the instructions. That's kind of just a little pro tip for you if you decide to get this kit and use it. All right, now after spending a billion years filing these are now filed and shaped to the shape that I want them to be. And I didn't show this on camera, but I ended up taking my nail scissors and trimming the sides of the nails off so I could file it more into the shape that I wanted. But I definitely recommend that you buy a better file and don't use this, because this file just doesn't, it's not gritty enough to file it into the shape that you want. And I accidentally kind of cut my skin on the sides here. So I definitely recommend that you buy a better file if you decide to use this kit. But let's go on to the next step. Okay, so the next step is step 4, which is pour dip powder into dip tray using manicure stick. I'm not sure why you would want to use the manicure stick to pour it in there, but I guess kind of to help control it. I do have this open already, and it doesn't say anything about stirring it or anything, so I guess we're not going to stir it. But let's just pour this in here. And that's all of the dip powder, so this definitely does not come with a lot of dip powder. I'm gonna move that to the side. And step 5, avoiding skin and cuticle area, apply a coat of brush-on gel over entire surface area of one nail. Note, use manicure stick to remove any gel on skin. And then following that is step 6, immediately dip entire fingernail into powder by carefully sliding the finger forward. Tap finger on dip tray to shake off excess powder. Repeat steps 5 and 6 on all 10 nails. Okay, so it doesn't say anything about dusting it off in between each nail that you're doing, so I guess you just are gonna dust it off after you've applied it. So let's follow step 5 and 6. Okay, so we're going to take our brush on gel, and it says to apply it to the entire nail, which I'm not a huge fan of because that might tend to bulk it up. I'm gonna apply a thin layer of this on my entire nail. And I did remove the powder off of my, or the dust off of my nail, so. This brush feels very stiff. It doesn't feel very flexible. Okay, now I'm gonna immediately dip it in there. I keep it in there for like 5 seconds. And then I'm gonna pull this out. I'm going to dust, or not dust, but tap off the excess. And that's what it looks like. And you're supposed to do that to all of the nails before dusting it off. So let's do that. Okay, so now that this is applied onto all 5 of my nails, this says to gently dust off loose powder from all 10 nails with enclosed sponge. So they want you to take this little spongy and just gently dust the powder off. I'm gonna also wipe it off my fingertips because I don't like how it feels on my fingertips. Okay. And then step 8, it says, 1 nail at a time, apply a second layer of brush on gel Wiping brush onto paper towel in between each application before placing back into bottle. And dip into powder, shake off excess powder. Okay, so we basically just repeat this step for a second time, but the second time that we apply it, we just have to make sure that we're wiping the brush onto the towel. So I might end up applying 3 coats instead of 2, just because these are a little bit on the longer side, and I want there to be just a little bit of structure. So let's go ahead and repeat steps 5 and 6. So off camera, I went ahead and I finished applying my second coat, and then I went ahead and applied a third coat. And this is what they look like after 3 coats. So this is definitely more for a natural look rather than, you know, if you want like acrylics, you know, when you want it to look like acrylic. So just keep that in mind. But now that I've finished applying my coats, I'm going to look at the instructions, and it says avoiding skin, apply a generous amount of activator to all 10 nails. Okay, so it wants us to take this and apply this to all of the nails. I'm going to apply a good amount of this just because I did apply 3 coats, and I want to make sure that this is hardened. And I just touched the skin. Oops. This does kind of smell good, but it almost smells like water as well. Like it has almost like a floral, like fruity kind of scent, which is interesting because activator normally doesn't have that kind of scent to it. You're probably wondering why I'm applying so much, and it's just because I did 3 coats, and I want to make sure that this dries all of those coats. Okay, so I'm now going to give this time to dry. I'm probably going to give this about like, I don't know, like 2 minutes or maybe even like 5 minutes, just to give it plenty of time to dry. So I'm gonna let this dry, and then we're gonna go read the instructions again and follow the next step. My nails are now all filed and shaped, so let's look at the next part of the instructions, which says avoiding skin, reapply activator to all 10 nails, and then remove excess activator by wiping nail surface with a dry lint-free wipe. Okay, so they want us to now reapply this, and then I guess let it sit for like a minute or 2 and wipe it off. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just gonna be applying only a little bit of this. I'm not gonna be applying a whole lot. Okay, So I'm going to let that sit for probably a minute or two, and then I'm gonna come back and wipe off the excess. So I've given this a couple of minutes to dry, so now I'm just going to take my dry lint-free wipe and just really wipe it off. Okay, I think that's wiped off pretty well. All right, so let's look at the next step, which is the last step. And it says, apply an even layer of brush-on gel as you would top coat and let it air dry. You can polish over natural nail tips or with white tips. Enjoy your French manicure as is. Okay, so we're going to apply the brush-on gel again, but we're going to be applying it like a top coat. Okay, so let's go ahead and take our brush-on gel and apply it like a top coat. Oof. I will say this kind of has like a strong smell to it, and so I have an issue where my eyes will start watering from it. So do keep that in mind, that your eyes might start watering. And that happens to me even with the with Kira Sky's dip powder kit. But it's not as bad as this. Like, for some reason, this has just such a strong glue smell to it that it just, like, burns my eyes. Okay, so we're going to let that dry and we're all done. So my nails are completely dry. That actually dried relatively quickly. They don't say anything about applying cuticle oil, but I will probably apply cuticle oil because you can just tell that my cuticles are very dry and they are in need of moisture. But I did notice when I was reading through the instructions that they have a little troubleshooting thing here. And they also have a, if you want to fill your nails, they have that here too. And they have a remover process here. So that's kind of cool that they give you like different little options in here. But this is how they turned out. So before I end this video, I want to go ahead and give kind of a list of pros and cons. So the pros about this kit is that it's affordable, it's easy to use, the instructions are easy to follow, so literally anybody can do this at home. I also like that they have different languages in the instructions, so literally anybody can do this at home. The cons about this kit though, let's start off with the file. I don't like the file at all. Really the file is going to be good for like only one use, and then after that it's gonna be done. The nail tips I'm not a huge fan of. They really give you only a limited amount, so if you wanted to do this more and more, you would have to buy a pack of nail tips, which I would do anyways. I would just buy a pack of nail tips because it gives you more sizes, and it gives you more of one size. So the tips I'm not a huge fan of. Again, I don't like the file, even though like I filed the seam of this and you can still see the seam of this. So I don't know if I just didn't file it well or if it had to do something to do with the file. I feel like it had something to do with the file. I don't like the application process. And what I mean by that is I don't like how they have you apply the dip powder. As you can see, this is 3 coats and this is very thin. So if you wanted to go longer with these, you would have to apply multiple coats, and that's honestly just a waste of time and product. But it is good for if you want more of a short, natural kind of look. But if you're looking for more of like a long, like acrylic looking set, the application process of this just isn't the best. Other than that though, the kit's all right. I'm not a huge fan of the kit, but I definitely think it is good for people who want to do their nails at home. The instructions are easy and it's easy to follow, so this is definitely great for doing your nails at home, but it's definitely not a professional nail kit. This is what my nails look like after 3 weeks, and with the polish on them, they look completely fine, they look normal. However, as I started filing them to take the product off, I noticed that I had a ton of cracks on this hand. I don't know how well you can see it, but this was the hand where I followed the instructions, and this is my right hand where I applied the dip powder how I normally applied it, and there really aren't any cracks on this hand. So that was my review of the Kiss dip powder kit. If there's other dip powder kits that you guys want me to try, let me know down in the comments below. Tell me a kit that you found like on Amazon or like wherever, and let me know if you want me to try it out and give my review on it. But other than that, if you guys like this video, consider hitting that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you guys get notified as new videos that I upload. If it even works, and if it doesn't work, you can go ahead and follow me on Instagram and TikTok, where I not only update you guys as to new videos that I upload, but that's also where I share my work that you guys normally wouldn't see here in these videos. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!